That's why we dropped. They knew that she needed assistance. Okay? So understand that you define your world, and most of the time you only pick 5 emotions to define your world. And you run with those all the time. Your brain, because it takes in all this information through all of its sensory system, and you're only supposed to take in a small chunk. We delete, distort, generalize that 4 billion bits. But then when you have that 2,000 bits, we have to delete, distort, and generalize even further and tell me what? I need my life to make sense again. I need to not go insane. I need to hang on to something before I lose reality. So we'll constantly think about it. Now our whole body in the meantime is going nuts. It really does not know how to co-handle and deal. It's up to you how you program your body. Your body's consciousness knows you better than you know yourself. Because if I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and I'm sitting there and I'm feeling, thoughts are electrical, emotions are magnetic. But if I'm sitting there thinking over, I'm going to create tracks, ruts in the road. I'm going to create it so that I'm always going to make my brain fire and wire to the same story, to the same reactions. And if I'm doing that, my body's consciousness memorizes what you've done. Because it's got to be able to survive itself. So if I'm sitting there and I finally, oh, my life's, I moved on, everything's great. Oh, yes. So anyways, I got a divorce. And I ended up moving over here. And I got married again. But I'm sitting in a beautiful home, with a beautiful man, and my body I started having an asthma attack. I'm like, wait, what? And it was just, and every time I asked her, they said, oh, it's just the environment, it's just the environment. The planet, the dirt, what the heck? There's nothing here that reminds me of my ex. But I was standing in the kitchen where a big event took place. A bad experience. Now, when I started to move throughout the rest of the house, I was okay. I hope that's on. Again, I began to awake and become aware. And your body has a clock, an actual clock. And my fear, which is kidney, this is everybody's fear is kidney. My fear, and I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking supper, but my fear, and it is between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. So kidney runs on 5 to 7, and large intestine runs on 5 and 7 a.m. and kidney is 5 to 7 p.m. So I was cooking supper, as if I'd like to cook supper between 5 and 7, until I started to heal it. Nah, I go in the kitchen anytime I want now. But my body's going, oh, this is what happened. Now, my brain up here is not thinking. I gotta cook supper, I gotta do this. But the physiology, the clock, kicked up. And all of a sudden it was like, hey, why isn't she panicking? He's gonna be home anytime now, blah, 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 blah. It has no difference, because remember, it marked the time. I'm living as an active memory and not knowing it. I'm consciously, presently trying to cook supper, but my body is going nuts because it's only remembering. Why isn't she panicking? And then the subconscious mind goes, oh, we gotta repair. What are we gonna do? All of a sudden, I'm like, your stomach ache. Oh, what the hell? Okay, no. Drink some water. Body's going. She's still not going into the bedroom and hiding. And it's like, wait, what? And again, I'm not thinking of the bedroom, not thinking of hiding, because I'm in a great place. But my body is going through every step. My physical body has lost its power, its life force to that event. I need that energy back if I'm going to survive. The ego mindset, the program, says, no, you need to take your life force, invest it, and then run like hell. No, I don't. I don't need to see my new husband through that filter either. my body is saying, we gotta get her to pay attention, we gotta get her to, and it'll do everything it can. And the next thing you know, I'm not cooking supper, I'm sitting on the computer. And one day I kept noticing, what the hell? I began to awake even further. My intention was to cook. Why am I here? So I started to take notes, and I even recorded myself just so that I could catch what was happening. So as I began to catch myself, dang, we mindlessly go into autopilot. We seriously do. We go into autopilot. And what does that mean? Meditative state. We hypnotize ourselves to go into a space. Have you ever been driving and can't remember how you got there? No. You're in a hypnotic state. You've done it so many thousand times. So your body wants to talk to you all the time. And it's usually telling you that you've lost power somewhere along the road. The reason I had to tell you that my last name used to be Heft, because we used to have a violent family. I've broken through and I said, no, I'm not going to be a physical abuser or sexual abuser. I'm not going to be an alcoholic. I'm not going to be verbally abusive. I'm not going to be emotionally abusive. So I started to cut the ties. You can't just do it like we normally do it. And I was able to start to use the innate wisdom and what I call healing tools, resolving tools, to tap into those memories. Started claiming my power back off of them, so my body would stop going into that old reaction. Because as soon as my body would start to do this, even though I'm going into autopilot, my body will take and start having me emotionally go through a certain thing. So I'm going to feel what I'm thinking and think what I'm feeling, and it becomes this loop. I became awake, became aware, and I chose to take action. Because I did not want to go down the road of getting into car accidents or hurting myself or getting cancer or any of this, because that's what the road from my genetic history was about. So I'll just dive into a little bit of epigenetics for you, just a little bit. What they can't resolve, my mother's has her egg, here's her emotions, here's her life, here's her behavior, here's everything, personality, all of this. Your personal reality is based on your personality. So whatever stuff she couldn't resolve, bang. My father, he couldn't resolve, bang. Bring the sperm and the egg together, bang, you created me. Now it's my job to come in. I chose these parents because I wanted to go down the road of understanding grief, anger, any of these things. And they were what they couldn't resolve. Now it's my turn. And when I begin to heal myself, I know I'm healing energetically the bloodline. There's codes in every single one of us. The encoding is that, first of all, we're all women. And if you look through history of the collective consciousness, women really didn't have a voice. Women weren't freely to be who they could be. We've done a lot. We have grown. We can stand at who we are. Okay? And so because I carry that encoding, I still have to go through all of the stuff that a woman has not been able to resolve out so that she can be herself. Okay? So you are here to resolve, to evolve. This is a different era. Years ago, it was involution. We were going away from God. We were going away from that. We were trying to figure out how to live separately, be in the ego mindset, live outside ourselves, see if everybody else can help solve or support my life, and it's your responsibility if I'm happy today. That usually was the old theory. That it created dependent anxiety people. And it's not my job to make you happy, it's your job. And if you haven't learned how to cope, handle, deal, pacify, I want you to learn how to soothe yourself. I want you to learn how to resolve yourself. I want you to learn how to tap into that innate wisdom to be the best you and live the best life you possibly can. Because if you have unresolved stories, trapped emotions, then you're going to be living in the ego mindset of hell. You've heard hell and heaven and hell. They're actually states of mind. And the more miserable you are, the more hell you're in. And when you start to take control of that, get your power back, start to live a little bit more intentionally, become awake, aware, and take that action, your life starts to change for the better, and you can do it quite rapidly. Now, some people are afraid because it's the unknown. And so what I'm going to say for that is that you know that the quantum field of potential is that there's billions and billions and trillions and trillions.
Sorry.
You just needed some lessing. Say less, girl. But this field, all the answers are there. But we keep grabbing the same 3 or 4 hell. And it's like, let go, get that good one over there. And we are hardwired for joy, and suffering is an option. We just don't know that because we were taught that we have a negative bias brain, which is hardwired for negativity, when in fact, it can be unprogrammed. You do not need to do that. You have an innate wisdom. If you don't believe it, how did you know how to digest your food? How did you know when to take a crap? How did you know that you felt uncomfortable? Your body moves my fingers. I'm not sitting there. Just imagine all these muscles and nerves. I'd have to talk to each one of those bent. You have to talk to you over there with that nerve there bent. No, your innate wisdom does this for you. And the innate wisdom will agree with anything you want. If you believe you need to be in hell, your wish is my command. Your body will say, okay, I believe you. So you accepted. You believed it. You gave your will to it. When you start to use resolving tools, what happens? You stop believing it. Oh God, man, we really do believe them, don't we? I mean, you came to me, you came to me, and when you both just came and to believe that this is the way my life is, this is what the story is. And you believed it 1,000%. And there's nothing that can change it. But yet, the urge inside of you was, I know there's an answer somewhere. They're determined to find it. They don't need to be the cookie cutter like everybody else. They know there's something else out there. When you had that thought and those emotions, did you feel that way? I mean, I'm sorry just to turn to you too, but did you feel like you couldn't resolve it? You've been trying to for years, or how long?
Yeah, I didn't know what problems that you worked out.
Yeah, so you didn't even know it was a problem. Well, some people don't have any problems. It's life. Okay? But you came to me with an intention, but you didn't even know what you wanted to work on.
No.
And it's funny because you trusted her because you just met her.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Brenda dogs. I'm a dog groomer.
Yeah.
And so it's like when your spirit starts to guide you, that urge. Like I didn't know who she was, but when she came to my door, hey, how you doing? And the next thing you know, the spirit says, hey, you're gonna get to know her. I think you guys are gonna work together. Really? Okay, let it go. Hey, I have a building over here. I want to try to do these things. Would you like? Oh, spirit was right. Why should I doubt? All right, excellent. Now we've come to this stage. Okay? So the hardest part to define what I do is that I have a whole bunch of knowledge up here. I have a whole bunch of spirit energy that runs through and helps me remember. It communicates. It has a message. It wants you to resolve, to evolve. It wants you to heal instead of just deal with life. I mean, one of the phrases is you can heal that. People look at me like, no, you can't. Yes, you can. If you run it, yes, you can. If you want to keep your stuff, I totally respect that. But if you're tired and you don't want that hellish shit that's happening, for most people, it is the mental chatter of hell. Or because mine was grief, it was always this, oh my God, it was just grief. Good grief, oh my God. Is there such thing as good grief? I always ask all these questions. But through time, I had this word hope follow me everywhere. What do you, hope is like that. And hope, one of the things about hope is that it's not hoping. That's the ego's aspect of trying to take and claim the word hope. Hope is when all the rest of the candles are blown out. That one's lit. You can be in the darkest of times, but there's a little light. And as you start to follow that, the light gets brighter. You start to resolve. You start to get your answers. You get to know me, you'll start hearing me say TYS or thank you, Spirit. Because I'm also a spiritual investigator. It's really what I am. I'm a soul coach. The thing is I read your energy, and it has nothing to do with invading. Your shit's already hanging out there. And trust me, when your little selves come walking, standing here in front of me, I'm like, hi, little Paula, 2 years old, how you doing? And what am I supposed to do? The 2-year-old knows I can see it. Dead people. Yes, we have a house full tonight. You've got 20 people behind you. You've got at least 13. You got a 14th one that keeps going out. I think that's the animal. There's an animal that keeps going in and out. You have that vibrational rate of love from people that you've experienced, either this life, this is the strange part, even in a past life, or different timelines. And when I'm like, sometimes just don't blow my mind. Just give me the information. And so when I start to do my shows, I do a live Facebook show, and one of the things is that how do I get the message out? Yeah, Spirit likes to speak. It says it's supposed to be 20 minutes, it usually goes for an hour. And then we go into the free reads or the expedites. Expedites is if somebody wants to pay and then they can get a reading. They don't have to be on camera, they can be off camera and I can hear their voice. Because there's a 20-second to 40-second delay, and time is everything when you're on a live feed. It's easier if you're just there with me in the room to some degree so that I can just go boom, 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 boom. And if you keep up with me, then I'll just tell you to hold points, do this, heal that, rub that, and woo. All you have to do is observe, measure. Oh my God, my health. Okay, we'll transcend, let it go.
It's crazy, honestly.
Like,
you walk out, like I was probably in there for, supposed to be 90 minutes, it was probably 2 hours.
Yeah, I gave her some more time.
And I walked out like, what just happened? Because it's like a whirlwind of stuff happening, isn't it?
Yes, and it goes just like that. And so I can do a 1-minute read. That means, and it's interesting because a lot of people are like, what can they get out of a 1 minute? What do you think you get out of a 1
I
minute?
get a lot out of 1 minute.
And if I know her, I know,
She knows
Shit.
straight away, and she'll just go, oh, go on.
yeah, I have tools.
Yeah.
All I have to say is, oh girl, I mean, she does chemical dumping, and sometimes her body just doesn't know what to do with this. I'm like, I ain't taking that. Hold on. Okay, you need to look at this, look at that. Oh, what were you thinking the other day? How about holding this tool, maybe do some little bit of tapping. In 1 minute, if you keep up with what I say, you can then go, okay, I need to heal this shit, and then you can feel better later. A lot of times people will go through and like, they know this hell. My very first client, years ago, oh man, this thing followed her for 30 years. I mean, she had a war story, she could detail, she could, And this is before I really knew what Spirit was doing. I'm listening, I'm letting her get her voice and all of this, and I'm really into it. And I says, what if you would I didn't mean to do that, but Spirit says, that's what I'm gonna do. And I started to notice that the more I started to listen to Spirit, the more little things would come out. So I just ran with it. Okay, who would you be without this story? I've never thought of it before. No, seriously, if you actually let it go, well, do you have another identity besides that one? How about now? And I'm like, what's happening? And what it was, she was in a hypnotic state. She had got to a certain point where her mind was very much in a very hypnotic state, and she was just this program, and she hit this peak. And when you hit that peak, y'all do it. This is the problem when you're watching TV and there's a big chaos moment, and you're at your peak, and all of a sudden there's somebody yelling at you. You're programming yourself, and you don't even know it. Sometimes it's not for the best. And you wonder why you're repeating the same action. Well, how can they affect me? Because you just had a post-hypnotic suggestion and you didn't even know it happened. Okay? So this woman, and this is why I record things now, it was only like 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, I've seen everything. She was done with it. And all of a sudden, here comes the wisdom. Because when we push out, gotta keep that shit out. And that stuff life just keeps happening to you. You keep the wisdom right here, out here. And when you start to bring it in, you're starting to make something that's unconscious, conscious. And then you start to go from incompetent to competent. And when that started to come up and she started to witness the emotions, how much energy that was tied to it, I will ask you to observe and measure it. Oh, 0 to 10, 10 being the worst. Oh, it's 1,000. Okay, I believe you. Do you want it to be that way? No. Okay, so then your body starts doing all the healing. And it'll go down to 0, and you're like, she's like,
And you can feel it shifting out.
yeah, you can.
You can feel that stagnant energy shift out your body. It's
And it'll be funny because I'll be over here working on
Yeah.
something, and you're like, what is she doing? Not paying attention to me. Oh no, I'm keeping my ego busy because I'm sitting there right in front of you, holding power.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing? And all of a sudden, I'll feel everything you feel. I'll even see some of the pictures you see. Some of them are like, okay, I'm not looking. It's okay. Yeah. But I have to connect to that emotion. And she froze. And then she said, well, where'd it go? And I said, you want it back? She goes, no. And then all of a sudden, and I watched it, and I says, okay, so then I asked her to, let's talk about this so you can witness. She goes, what are you talking about? I don't do that. Never had that. I was completely stumped. And that's when the spirit says, well, you should have taken notes. you should record it, because I hesitated, and I thought, no, I can't do that. I wasn't confident enough. Spirit taught me a lesson. It's amazing. She really believed that this has never happened to her. It's not that she forgot it. She just, it was not who she was, because she was on to the next subject. What happens is the emotions, the chemical peptides, okay? People think it's all in your brain. No, it's every cell of your body. And when you get upset, it vibrates, okay? And if you go into start thinking about it too much, it starts vibrating at a certain rate. And what happens is it starts to control you, and you'll start going, oh my God, and you're like running around with scissors, oh my God, making everything worse, and putting everybody else into distress, and everybody starts feeling uncomfortable, and then you run to the end of your time, like, if I do this, if I do that, and do this, and say, okay, yeah, and all you're doing is repeating. But the chemical peptides are fully in the body. And if you ever know, like, how cats take a poop and fish poop, your body starts creating these chemical peptides, and they start dumping. And then your body don't know what to do with it. And if your body doesn't really know what to do with it, it gets clogged up. You get a dirty environment. It begins to change the potential hydrogen inside you. It has the potential to start decomposing you like a log.
I'm really decomposed.
Your energy's been improved greatly, my love.
Yeah.
And so, what does this mean? It means that you can become awake, you can become aware, and you can actually take action. Who wants to play with me?
I always like playing.
Would you mind?
No.